Hey guys, we are going to wait for some of our other friends to get in here tonight. I'm coming to you again. I know I'm throwing you guys all off. Some of you guys are probably going to complain about it, but let me reposition that a little bit. We're starting at 5:30 tonight. I have babysitting duties tonight, and I say babysitting, it's for my son. My wife is going to a function tonight, so I'm taking care of everything. So I am going to, real quick, we're going to segue into our podcast, do the introduction there, and then I'll do what I normally do, my obligatory introduction to you guys and talk to you all. So I'm going to start off my podcast real quick because I'm going to try to run it at the same time. It crapped out last week, so let me try it again. Hey guys, welcome to the Legally Armed America High Capacity Podcast. I'm Paul Glasgow, bringing you a vulgar display of common sense. And again, back to my friends online right now. I'm dipping. I'm double dipping right now. I'm being somewhat lazy. I'm doing a podcast over here through one program, and I'm doing my live stream over here to you guys. Last week, my application that I was doing the podcast for crapped out on me. And for one whole hour that you and I got to speak on here, you guys online, the live guys, nobody got anything on the podcast. So we're going to try it again this week. I'm assuming that it was just some fragility of the app. I've updated it since then. I've done all kind of stuff to it. So I don't know. Let's hope it works right this week, because it sure be nice to be able to pull off my doing my live stream and be able to use that same audio here on the podcast. If it doesn't work this week, I'm just going to assume the app is just not capable of doing it. So what I'll do is I'll rip my audio from the live stream that you guys are watching online on YouTube right now. I'll rip that audio and drop it into the podcast next week. It's just another step that I'm trying to prevent. That if I can capture that audio on here, I'd rather do that. So again, welcome to you guys on YouTube, and welcome to the podcast listeners. The podcast is everywhere. Oh gosh, it's on Apple, Spotify, and a ton of other ones. The Apple and Spotify are the only two that I know by name, but there's like 13 other podcast communities out there. So we're pretty much everywhere. Let's see, and this might be why it crapped out last week, but I'm going to see if I can toggle over to my my picture where you guys online on YouTube are watching, so that I can figure out if, I'm guessing this is probably what made it crap out. Let me go see if it's still going. Let's see. Yep, that's what did it. It kicks it out. Apparently, it's having to use, so I'm not doing it anymore. The podcast is over. It was a minute and a half. Apparently, what I'm going to have to do is, in order to make that podcast work, I'll have to bring a third device in here. So that, one, I can read you guys' comments, and two, I can do the podcast, and three, two, I can do the live stream, and three, I can do the podcast, because clearly that does not work. So that's good. That just basically freed up my iPad for the whole night now. All right. Again, guys, I apologize for the time change. I know somebody complained last week, why don't I stick to the times and try to be more consistent? You know what? Life happens. Tonight I'm babysitting my kids so my wife can go to a concert with a girlfriend of hers. We all need some breaks every now and then, and my wife needed a break. So I'm still grabbing my cold one. I'm not driving. I'll be at the house tonight. It's a Yingling tonight. Let me give my shout outs. Shooting with Uncle Dan is in here. Anonymous Maximus is here. Richard Portella. Citizen Soldier, Shooting with Uncle Dan, Roland Garcia, Ryan Westall. Let's see, Rob Avis, Dan Caines, David Lay, 19 Kilo 35M, Cody Ashton. Let's see, Roland Garcia, I think I said Roland's name already, David Lay, and Willie Dick. Everybody, welcome. Let's see, David Lay says, I didn't realize this was a weekly thing. I just subbed. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, man, we try. I'm very inconsistent, as the guys on here will tell you. Again, life happens. I don't always have the ability. We try to do this at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. That's my time. Every Friday night. It's just I don't get to. So, I mean, kicked it off at 5:30 tonight. The reason why is because at 7 p.m. my wife is going to leave, and I need to be, you know, keep an eye on my son at that point. So I'm trying to take this opportunity right now to get this thing in so that I don't just skip the whole weekend. So again, that's why, you know, I apologize for the time changes, but you know, stuff happens. I think next week, I don't know if we have any plans next week. I think we'll be good next week. So things should be somewhat back down to the normal. Southtown Paint app says, first time here, glad I found this channel. Glad you did too, buddy. We have some pretty cool live streams on Friday nights here. Get pretty interesting. I'm gonna try something tonight. Let me see here. Let me get this off. Since I'm not doing the podcast, I don't need that anymore. Let's see, guys. I want to show you guys a video, and I'm going to try to play that in this live stream tonight so that you guys can see it, because that's what we're going to be talking about. I have a feeling you're not going to be able to hear the audio good because, again, I got the AC rolling over here.
Oh yeah, you're going to jail.
Here we go.
Yes, you are.
Okay. Main topic I want to talk about tonight, because I do think it's relevant for those of us that are responsible gun owners. Ugh. I've been farting around too long. That one got hot. This is a Shiner Blonde. I didn't buy any beer tonight, so I'm basically all the leftovers from other 12 packs I'm kind of piecing together tonight, and I'll be drinking that tonight. So it's only my second beer, so you caught me early tonight. There's a video out there, I don't know if you guys have seen it, this past week, and to me it shows, I'm going to start off the show with the kind of ugly side. It shows a really ugly side of gun owners. I'm not happy with this video at all. I hate that it's out there. I think it is exactly what the anti-gun left wants from us, from gun owners. What it is, these two guys, and I'll show the video here in a second. These two guys, I believe it's a father and son combination, have this issue with another guy on the street, on like I think it's like a back road, a rock gravel drive road. Have an issue with him. The two men are brandishing firearms. They're clearly not threatened in any kind of, or don't feel threatened in any kind of way, but they are, by their actions, they are indirectly threatening. They're signaling to this guy that they'll shoot him. They're trying to intimidate him. Now, I didn't see the video leading up to it. It picks up right in the middle of a bunch of crap going on, and what it is, the video is actually being filmed. The guy gets shot. The unarmed man gets shot, and it's his girlfriend or wife who's filming the thing. Let me show you the video. Again, I apologize. You're probably not going to be able to see the audio or hear the audio. So hopefully you guys can go to our Facebook page later on, and let me unplug here so you can see it. Hopefully you go to our Facebook page later on and you can listen to it, because then you can catch the audio. But I want you to see what happens. Let me show you here. All right, why did it? That is really weird. My screen blacked out.
Hey, you hear him say he's gonna
There
kill
it
me?
is.
I'm at the dumpster. Put the gun up and go inside.
They're at a dumpster, okay.
You pulled a gun in front
You
of our
put a gun
children.
in front of my kids. Where the actress? Point at me. Point at me. I'm standing my ground. Take your swing. No, you ain't.
You're in an alley. You're not in your home, sir.
You came out to the alley. Support a gun. I will kick your dead. I promise you you're dead.
See if you can see that.
Alley.
You're in an alley with a I got you, old piece of I'm gonna kill you.
Okay.
First of all, if you're going to show this video to the cops, you might as well stop yelling.
Oh no! I don't give a I will
The guy yelling, I don't believe is armed.
You pull that gun one more time.
But you see the fat guy in front is armed with a pistol by his side, and his, what looks like his son behind him has a shotgun on his shoulder.
Go ahead, Vicky.
Point at me. Point at me.
Now they're all wrong.
Point at
Understand, I'm not
me.
taking sides here. They're all
Point
wrong.
at me again.
Back off.
You're a dead man.
right?
No.
They're all wrong. Everybody had a chance to back off and walk away. None of them did.
Kill you too.
The guys with the most responsibility right now are the two guys with the guns, okay? The two guys with the guns have the greatest equalizers right now by having guns. They should be the ones to walk away. The other man is not armed at this point.
If you come within 3 foot of me, I'm gonna kill you.
Okay.
He said, if you come within 3 foot of me, I'm going to kill you. This guy's threatening to kill this guy with his gun.
Point it. Point it.
Shot him. Now look, the son paused. You get that? Did you see what happened there? Blows my mind, guys.
The beginning
What
of this
happened? Let me
story
turn the rest of this
seems
crap
tragic.
down. Okay. I haven't looked at this enough times to really know exactly what took place here as far as I've read online where people have said that the guy had a, look, there they are. They're actually, there's their mugshot right there. Good, I hope they burn in hell while they rot in jail. These guys took it upon themselves to police the situation. They were both armed. They both had an opportunity to walk away, never walked away. Being armed, they had them. Again, this is how I view us gun owners, right? When we're armed, especially if another party is not, we have the greatest responsibility because we're the ones at that point with just the pull of one finger. We're the ones, I'm trying to get back to y'all's comments. We have the greatest responsibility because we can end a life with the pull of one finger. Even if a guy's got a baseball bat, he's going to be pretty good with one swing, and a swing's a little more action than one pull of a trigger. But he's going to have to be pretty effective with a baseball bat to end my life with just a swing of a baseball bat. But I can point that gun at him and end his life immediately. In my opinion, with me having the more weight that I can throw around at that very moment, that makes me the more having the more responsibility, or the most responsibility. I should be the one that's the bigger man at that point. Without firing a shot, I know that I have won, right? I don't have to fire a shot to know that I beat him. If I'm ever in a situation and the guy does not have if I feel threatened, first of all, you're not going to see my gun if I'm not threatened. But let's say I feel threatened and he's got something less than what I have, a knife, a baseball bat, or something like that. If I have to draw my gun, or if I have to let him know that I have a gun, I've won. I've won at that point. There's no reason for me to stay around. There's no reason to hang around. I've beaten him without firing a shot, without pulling the gun out. These two guys were brandishing, first of all. You don't walk down the street and brandish. They said they were at a dump, you know, unless it was a private dump and it was on this guy's property who got killed, then both parties were wrong. They're both sitting here letting this escalate until it gets out of control. You knew something was going to happen. I mean, there's two guys with a gun. I would like to think that those of us that would find ourselves in a situation like that would be even more cautious, because now the situation has escalated to a point where, oh crap, now I got to be right, because this is a life-changing moment. You know, I think rationally like that, guys. I seriously think like that. My mind thinks like, oh crap. You know how when you were younger and you did things, let's say you were on your dirt bike and you were, or bicycle, whatever, and you were jumping ramps. You know what I mean? You were jumping in the road. You had your ramp set up in the road and you were jumping, and you know, maybe you remember the old pedals that had the teeth in them so that your shoes would grab better, so whenever you crashed after you jumped the ramp, they gashed into your shins and tore a big hole out of your shin. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. You get to that point where you realize, all right, I'm just jumping ramps here, but I'm getting a little banged up and it's a little challenging. All of a sudden, one of your buddies goes over there and they take the ramp and they put it over a ditch. And the ditch has snakes in it, broken bottles in it, all kinds of stuff like that. And it's like, now instead of being a 3-foot jump, it's now a 12-foot jump. That's when you realize, all right, do I really want to be a part of this? Is this what I want to do? You know what I mean? You start thinking it through a little more rationally. You know, jumping a ramp when you have no threat is not a big deal. You don't have anything to fall into. Nah, the worst thing you could get is get your shins busted up by your bike pedals. Same as this situation. If you just get in an argument with a guy and neither one of you are armed, the worst thing's going to happen is you get your ass beat. But these two guys walked out there with loaded guns, and not only did they help facilitate the fight by arguing, going, I'm going to kill you. You make one more step to me and I'm going to kill you. That's exactly what he said. One more step to me and I'm going to kill you. What is he thinking a judge and a jury is going to think when they see this video? What are they thinking? I can't even count the amount of wrongs that took place here. It's not one or two wrongs, guys. Okay, let's look at it. Now, I'm going to assume that the guy who got murdered might have done something wrong, all right? Let's not say he's totally innocent. I'm not saying he deserved to get shot. Let's say he's not totally innocent. Let's say he really, really instigated this. Let's say he was instrumental in this fight happening, in this whole thing taking place. Let's say that he could have done everything to make it go away and he escalated it and it got out of hand, all right? Fine. Let's say he did the worst thing he could do to make this situation take place. So now he's guilty too. Up to this point, let's just assume he's the worst person in this little group that we have. The guy who got shot. Let's say he's the worst guy. He's no good son of a gun. And at this point, anybody that would watch a video up to this point thinks he's a sorry SOB. Okay. The two fat guys with no shirt on that have guns had a responsibility and the chance to walk away and say, I'm not going to be a part of this. They had a chance to walk away. They had a chance to call the police. You can tell by their posture. You can tell by their demeanor. You can tell by the tone of their voice. They don't feel threatened. They don't feel the least bit threatened. They're perfectly fine. One got his hand on his hip. The other one's got the shotgun kind of slung over his shoulder. You know, they're posturing. They're trying to act like Billy Badass in front of everybody who's watching. When you tell somebody, first of all, they're brandishing. Let's go through the things they did wrong. They're brandishing. You don't walk into a situation like that. First of all, you almost have to assume that the situation just popped up right there, because it looked like the old fat guy didn't have a holster. He just had his gun drawn and holding at his side. The younger fat guy had his shotgun slung over his shoulder. It's doubtful he walks around the house with his shotgun slung over his shoulder. So it looks to me like these two guys left their homes with their guns, or left their vehicles with their guns, went to this location, which is all wrong. That is textbook brandishing. You are brandishing your gun. Not legal. Not legal. No one was threatening your life physically. Verbally saying I'm going to kill you is not the same as somebody aiming a gun at you. Let me repeat that. Telling somebody that you are going to kill them face to face and you are not holding anything that can kill them is much different than pointing a gun at them. Totally different. And it is completely different. In the court of law, it's completely different also. And I'm not even an attorney, and I know this. So the guy saying, I'm going to kill you, doesn't mean that that's giving any kind of a threat. And again, I'm not a body language expert, but the two guys did not feel threatened. But they brandished those guns. They had those guns that were showing the guy. They were sending a message already that they could overpower him. So then whatever happened, I've read online that someone either threw or gave the guy a baseball bat that got shot. Let's assume he did have a baseball bat, okay? even if he swung the baseball bat at the old man and the old man shot him twice, the first 2 shots were from the old man that shot the guy. Even if he did swing that baseball bat, the guy's not gonna be he's not gonna miss going to jail, the old man, because he could have walked away at every moment. No judge and no jury. Even if the guy came at him with a baseball bat after that long argument, it was a 5-10 minute argument, that the guy could have walked away, and he never did. And if the guy came at him with a baseball bat, for that very brief moment, he might have been defending himself. He was still wrong. Yes, he was right to shoot the guy. If he just walked up and if the gun had been holstered, and he walked up and encountered the guy, and the guy came at him with a bat and shot him, case closed. It's all good. Justified shooting. You're good, sir. But to stand there and argue, and then have a guy come at you with a baseball bat when you could have walked away, and look, make no mistake about it, you were instigating it. You don't stand there and say, if you come at me again, I'm going to kill you. If you come at me again, I'm going to kill you. You do not dare somebody to come at you just so you can shoot them. You will go to jail. You will go to jail. That's not the most sickening part of this. The most sickening part to me, and it makes it hard for me to watch, and I'm no candy ass, it was hard for me to watch this. Keep in mind, the person videoing this is the guy who got murdered. It's his wife or girlfriend who's videotaping this. There's another longer video online where it shows way more of the argument ahead of time, and then it shows what happens after the guy got shot. And that poor lady, I felt horrible for her, because she just watched the person that she loves and she lives with get shot in cold blood and laying on his face in the middle of a street. He's dead. But the most sickening part is the younger fat guy that racked his shotgun. I don't think, if you notice, go back and listen to it. I'll show it here again in a second. If you notice, it sounds like he racks the shot, like the dad fires 2 shots into the guy, ultimately putting him on the ground. And then the guy racks around. It doesn't sound like his shotgun was loaded, which that's not going to save him in court just because he didn't have one chambered. But it sounds like he takes the time, he pauses. In other words, he watches the guy get shot, hit the ground, the guy becomes less of a threat than he was standing there unarmed before. He's now less of a threat because he's shot, he's injured, and he's laying on the ground. This dude racks around and pumps 2 shotgun shells into the guy. You don't think this guy's going to spend some time in prison? He's never going to see the light of day, or he shouldn't. If he does, our justice system is complete garbage, which the jury's still out on that, no pun intended. Guys, this is a messed up situation. Let me tell you why it's messed up. I can't believe you hadn't seen more of this on television, because this is the kind of situation that the anti-gun left, they're licking their chops over this. They love it. This is perfect for them. They're excited about this kind of stuff because guess what it does? It paints all of us, all of you guys and me, with a broad brush. That all white guys who are gun supporters and gun owners are just like this. That's what it does. That's what it does. And I say white guys because right now, for some reason, I watched, was it Joy Behar talking about old white guy. What is it with old white guys? Why does everybody hate old white guys so much? I don't get that. I know some really nice old white guys. But here's the old white guy that shoots a guy. This old white guy was a gun owner. So now they can say, aha, see what I told you? All gun owners are just like this guy. They're hillbillies that walk around with no shirt on, their gut hanging out, a gun hanging, sitting in their hand, hanging by their side. They talk in broken English. They're old, they're white, they're fat, they're irresponsible, and it's like the Wild West. They're just shooting people in the street. That's what the left wants. They love this. Don't let the left fool you for one moment into thinking that, oh man, they're just as upset about this as we are. No, they're not. They love this stuff. I can tell you this much, and this is not a knock against these guys. I'm just trying to describe them. The 2 guys, the 2 idiots that were brandishing the guns that murdered this guy, they probably have an NRA sticker on their truck. They probably have a "Don't Tread on Me" sticker somewhere, or a cold dead hands, or a Molon Labe tattoo or something like that. You know, like a lot of us run. I don't have any of those tattoos, but a lot of us have those things. So again, how the news media, the left, the anti-gun left, haven't descended upon this area and videotaped their homes or their mobile home or their because clearly these guys did not live in a gated community. So how the left has not done this, maybe the left, the only thing I can figure, and I'm serious, I've thought about this, because the left, I'm going to say this, I don't care what anybody thinks and what anybody says, the left likes when people get shot. They love it because it jacks the numbers up and it puts this in the forefront to where people become more emotional, to where we can attack our Second Amendment rights. I don't care what you say. I don't care what the left says. They like when people get shot. The left absolutely loves seeing murder with a gun. They love it. Absolutely love it. Well, they don't care about it in Chicago, but they like whenever everybody else shoots and kills people. I can only assume that because of the accusations at Brett Kavanaugh of his 36-year-old high school thing that he apparently wasn't at, that he might have groped a girl or something like that. I can only assume that the mainstream media is so preoccupied with that they haven't had a chance to spend any time on this story. Because if it were a slow news week, they would have been all over this. I mean, what better story to take than something like this to make all of us look like a bunch of hillbillies that are running around out there shooting our neighbors over a mattress dispute at a junkyard. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Guys, y'all know how I feel about this kind of stuff. We have a huge responsibility as gun owners. It's like we take 2 steps forward and these clowns take 10 steps backwards. What do? How do you prevent this? You know, this is a perfect example, and I will elaborate on this because I don't want you to think that I'm being anti-Constitution. This is a perfect example as why everybody should not be gun owners, right? Now, I'm not saying it's up to Congress or anyone else to determine who should or shouldn't be owning guns. In fact, there's already a law in place. If you're a felon, you cannot own a gun. Now, we can go off on a tangent on that because I do feel like felons ought to have a right to be able to recover their Second Amendment rights at some point, because those are the rights to protect yourself. Somebody goes to jail and they spend their time and they come out rehabilitated, there should be a process to be able to reinstitute those Second Amendment rights. I firmly believe that. Now, I'm not a felon and I don't know any felons, but I still believe felons are Americans and they should have the right to recover their Second Amendment rights when they've been taken from them. I do think their Second Amendment rights should be taken from them because there's people out there that are felons that should not own guns and should never be around guns. But I do think if you're labeled a felon, there should be different classifications of felons. And one that, let's say, just sold drugs for a living, he's no threat to anybody for a gun. If that guy gets out of prison, he should be able to have a gun. I'm not saying what he did was right, but he's clearly not a violent felon. Anyway, that's a whole other show we can talk about. But there's a process already in place to make sure that the wrong people don't have guns. Hey, unfortunately, you got to become a felon before that process kicks in. These guys, these 2 guys that had these guns that killed that man, no, I totally agree. They should not be gun owners. Sadly, they shouldn't have been gun owners before that. But the problem is, you're not a felon until you become a felon. So you're not void from being able to own a firearm until you commit that crime to become that felon. That's the way our country works. That's the beauty of our country. That's why everybody wants to come here, because we have a great system in place. You cannot put a hypothetical, a fear of a hypothetical situation happening and cast it upon all of us, millions of honest, law-abiding gun owners, just because we might go commit a crime like these 2 guys. You see what I'm saying? I mean, I'll debate this with anybody on the anti-gun left side. Yes, they will ask me, and I've been in some of these, when there's mass shootings and things like that, some of these liberal outlets will call me and they'll interview me on their radio programs, NPR, Wall Street Journal, ABC. A lot of these people have interviewed me on stuff like that, and they try to get me with these gotcha questions. I will debate anybody that tells me, well, don't you think these two guys shouldn't be gun owners? I would say absolutely they shouldn't be gun owners. Absolutely not. They should not be anywhere near a gun. Well, they had a gun. Well, you know what? Up to that point, they were not felons. They weren't criminals at that point. They had not proven that they didn't have the mental capacity to be law-abiding gun owners. You're law-abiding until you break the law, right? Just by the simple nature of the term, the definition. You are a law-abiding citizen until you break the law. That's when you prove you shouldn't be owning a gun. And that's when we take them from you, okay? These guys will never be around a gun again, never. And they shouldn't be. They shouldn't recover their rights to own a gun because there's something wrong up there that made them do this. But that doesn't mean that you all of a sudden say, all law-abiding gun owners should not have access to these weapons, because that might happen. That is the umpteenth of 1% that made this happen. But because of social media, it seems like a much bigger deal than what it is. It seems huge because we got social media that multiplies that. 25 years ago, we wouldn't have heard about this. Not unless you lived in a local community somewhere near there, right? My point is, yes, I will say this forever. Some people should not own guns. Unfortunately, the Constitution, and I say unfortunately, fortunately and unfortunately, the Constitution is designed to protect us, to protect our rights. And as long as I am not a criminal or a lawbreaker, you cannot do like Brett Kavanaugh and make an assumption on me and make a claim against me that's unfounded or founded without giving me due process to prove that I'm right or I'm wrong. How'd you like that segue? I kind of rolled that Brett Kavanaugh thing from earlier. But that's my point. We live in a great country. The problem with some of the, look, for every great thing out there, there's a bad thing, right? What do you say, the good-looking women can't cook? You know what I mean? Mine can. But, or they don't work, or they're stupid. I'm throwing stereotypes out there, obviously. My point is, every positive has a negative. Nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. So, it's a bizarro world we live in if you think that going out there and treating me like a criminal, you can't treat me like a potential felon. You can't do that. You can't throw a law at me and make me a future felon. You have nothing to go on whenever you do that. Again, you can throw these guys in my face all you want. You can tell me that this man and the two men should not have been able to own a gun. That's not true. Sadly, that's not true. They had every right, if they weren't felons. Now, I'm assuming, guys, that they were not felons. I don't know this. I'm assuming they weren't. If they were felons, they're pretty stupid because they allowed somebody to videotape them holding guns. So I'm making an assumption they were not felons. If they were not felons, they had every right, no matter how irresponsible or stupid their actions ended up being. I'm going to firmly stand on this statement. I don't care what happened. If nothing leading up to that point proved that they were dangerous, irresponsible, they had every right to own those guns. And I wouldn't have changed anything. You can't do that. You cannot legislate based on hypothetical bull crap. You just can't, guys. So that's my thing. I know it's a tough pill to swallow. For me as a pro-gun guy, I look at it, I'm like, yeah, you're right. Those two guys shouldn't own guns. But prior to that, they had every right to. And because of our Constitution, you can't go take those guns from them. And you should not have. You shouldn't go take them. Because, it's hypothetical. Oh, I think Billy's going to shoot somebody. Well, has Billy threatened anybody? No, but man, he just seems like that kind of guy. You can't go take Billy's gun from him because you think he might shoot somebody. If he hasn't shown any actions that have made you feel like he's going to be a murderer, you can't just do like the Brett Kavanaugh thing and say, that's a pretty bad guy, go take his gun from him. Guys, when we get to that point, and look, some states are doing that. You know, some states, I think Oregon or Washington or both. If you suspect that somebody is potentially dangerous, could be harmful to others, and they use that harmful to others because that's the safety of others thing. That's the kind of like the catch-all. But if you believe somebody might be harmful to themselves or others, you can call local authorities, and a judge has to sign something, a warrant or whatever, and they can go to your house and they can forcefully take your firearms from you. That's what happens whenever we allow this kind of crap to happen. These two guys like this that shouldn't own a gun going forward should have been allowed to own before that. If we start allowing people to have their guns taken from them simply because we think, with no proof, no evidence whatsoever, we think that they might be a dangerous person, at what point does that become abused? You guys know as well as I do that as long as we have people in Washington, D.C. that have a political agenda, right or left, that anytime you give a certain amount of power that can be abused without proof, and I use that without proof, that's the biggest part of it. If it's just a hunch or an assumption, if we start legislating based on hunches, who can or cannot have guns, we are in a bind. I can tell you right now, somebody will be at my door tomorrow if we start legislating like that. The cops will be here as soon as that gavel hits and that legislation passes. Somebody's going to report me, and they'll be over here to take these guns out of this room. Why am I bringing all this up? We got to vote, guys. We got to vote. And it ain't just us. The Democrats, man, look, they used to be lazy and not go vote. They've been voting lately. We got to tell our friends and our family that if you want your Second Amendment rights, it's not a game, man. We got to get out and vote. We got to get out and tell people what's going on. There's way too much crap going on out there that we're never going to know about. And one of them is we are only a few Republicans away from having our Second Amendment rights stripped. We've been seeing it lately. Since the Parkland shootings in Florida, you've been seeing a bunch of these Republicans flip. What's his name? The governor in Florida. Ah, shoot, he's running for Senate now. He's already flipped. Went totally anti-bump stock, as well as other stuff. Wasn't he in support of raising the age to buy guns to 21? I think he was. Raising the age to buy long guns to 21 from 18. So you're basically preventing adults from being able to protect themselves. So what you're doing. Because at that point, they couldn't buy any guns. They already can't buy handguns. So these Republicans are flipping. They're flipping, guys. So we're only a handful of Republicans away from flipping to where we actually start getting all these weird regulations implemented onto us. So I'm not going to talk anymore on that. If you guys get a chance to check that video out, please do. It will blow your mind if you get a chance to watch it. It's uncanny that this could happen in today's day and time. A couple things I want to show y'all. Last week I was talking about doing this, and I did it. I put the brace, the foldable brace, on the. Oh shoot! I didn't even look at how to fold this thing. How do you fold this dang thing? Here we go. I think that's it. We're not loaded up here either, by the way, guys. No loaded guns, except the one on my side up here. I don't know how to fold this sucker, but it folds. I'll figure it out. Anyway, my IWI Galil, I did put the stock on it. I'm sorry ATF. Put my pistol brace on it. So that's my IWI Galil. 7.62 by 39 is what this thing is chambered in. So I will be shooting this thing very, very soon. Very cool gun. I like that gun. IWI did amazing things with that. I was able to take this bad boy out and shoot it this past week. This is my, let's see. Yeah, we're open here. This is my 6-hour Rattler with my Acadian Armament Predator suppressor on it and my Sig Romeo on top. This thing is an absolute joy to shoot. This thing is fun to shoot. With no ear protection, by the way. I have some cool stuff that was sent to me. Let's see what we got here. This is, it's gonna look like something we saw last week, but it's not what you think. This is a Rock Island Armory 1911. Looks just like the ones I had last week that we're about to beat up in the gun bully segment. However, this one is chambered in 22 TCM. That is that round, and I don't have one up here. I'd show you guys. Wow, that recoil spring. Look at that. The 22 TCM was essentially a 22 round necked down, or I should say, it's a 9mm casing necked down to a 22 round in front. So instead of having your 9mm projectile, it uses a 9mm casing, but it necks down at the front into a 22. So it's got the powder of, roughly, the powder of a 9mm, but the projectile of a 22. Really cool round. I oversimplified it a little bit, but that's what this is. That's why you have this recoil spring that's so light. That's why you've got that. That's why it's so light. That's probably, man, that's probably an 8 to 10 pound recoil spring. There's nothing to that. Cool thing about this one, and there's your 22 TCM mag. Cool thing about it is it comes with a 9mm magazine. It comes with a 9mm or a heavier spring. Put that in there, and a 9mm barrel. Conversion kit. So everything fits in this thing. The 22 TCM, because the girth and the base width of the 22 TCM is the same size as a 9mm, you can convert this thing because everything else works the same way. So you're going to change your barrel out, your recoil spring, and your magazine, and this thing's going to function the same. The frame and the slide are the same on both guns. So this is a really cool thing. We're about to be doing some testing on this thing. I'm really excited. If you've never shot the 22 TCM round, I bought one of the first 22 TCMs that ever came out, and I'm so happy that I did. It's got some flaws to it. It's kind of neat actually, because it was so green when it came out. But it's so fun to shoot. If you've ever shot one, it's got a very loud report, and it's got a ball of fire about this big that comes out the muzzle. You know, about this big, you'll find pow, zero recoil. It's like shooting a 22. It's like totally flat, pow, 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 pow. There's no muzzle rise to it whatsoever. Very fun gun to shoot. And the other one is exactly like the gun I showed you guys last week, but instead of a standard dust cover on a 1911, this has a full dust cover down here and a rail on this 1911. This is a 10mm also. So we're going to be doing a full review on this also. The 10mm by Rock Island are some of the best 10mm I have ever shot. Say what you want. I've got my high-end 1911s that I absolutely love and adore. I've got Turnbull restoration. I've got, of course, some SIGs, some STIs. I've got, you name it, Remington, Kimbers, Smith & Wesson, Wilson Combat, Nighthawk. I've got all the nice 1911s. I love 1911s. Rock Island Armory, for the money you spend on them, blows them all away. They just do. It's such a great value. It's one of the best values on the market. You can't beat them. So if you get a chance, go shoot one. That's actually it, guys. That's all my toys. That's all I got. I do want to give a quick shout out to our buddies over here at Drago Gear. If you guys get a chance, if you don't already look at Drago Gear stuff, this is not a commercial spot for them. I actually have this bag here because my Gun Bullies 1911s from Rock Island go in it. That's what I'm carrying them around in because I trust it. These are some awesome bags. They sell these at Academy, all kind of other stores. Drago is kind of cool because Drago came out with a lot of these bag designs. Most of these bag designs, they look familiar because they've been stolen from Drago. Drago designs these bags and everybody else steals them and sells them for cheaper. Drago's bags do cost a little bit more, but they're the best bags on the market. We sought these guys out. They're a supporter of our show now. We went to them. We're like, dude, I bought a bunch of your bags already and I love them. Can we work something out here? Can you guys, be a part of our show? And they were like, yeah, cool, we'll do it. So now we're happy that they're a part of our show, a formal, official part of our show. But they were before because we chose them. Most of the people that we are sponsored by, we support their stuff because we sought them out. I mean, what better combination to already be using something because you like it and you feel like it's the best than to reach out to those guys and say, hey, can we do something together? And then they agree. It's a great feeling because now you get to rep the stuff that you already used. Now you can just say it openly and pimp it for them, have everybody looking at it. So it's a good thing for us. I like it. Drago's some good. And look, man, the owner, if you ever get a chance to go to SHOT Show or NRA Show, that's the two biggest ones, go to the Drago booth and ask to talk to Phil. Phil is one of the owners. One of the coolest, most down-to-earth guys you will ever meet. Just a super good guy. Go talk to him. Tell him we sent you. He's a good man. You meet people and you're like, man, I wish I'd have met you sooner because you're just a good dude. That's Phil. So he's one of the creators of Drago. I highly recommend checking him out along with all the bags. All right. Let's finish up. I bet y'all hate seeing me drink beer. I'm not exactly a graceful beer drinker. So let's see. Hit me with the questions. We have 13 minutes. And I am going to have to shut, oops, sorry about that. I am going to have to shut this thing down at 6:30 Central Time. So hit me with your questions. If you've already asked questions earlier, I have not looked at this thing one time. Basically, your questions are all listed down here, or your comments. So I'm just perusing through the comment section now, and if you guys have anything, I'd love to talk to you about it. So hit me with your questions. I'm gonna roll through and see some of y'all's conversations from earlier. Ashley says beer ain't graceful. That's exactly right, and that's why I like it, because you don't have to put your pinky finger out. I don't drink my beer like this. I drink my beer like this. That's exactly right. I like that. Beer ain't graceful. That might be a good t-shirt. Ashley, you'll have to email us because if we use the idea, I'll send you one. Let's see. Going through y'all stuff here, guys. And a lot of you guys came in here. A bunch of names I don't recognize. Ronald Arvin says, when is your next Gun Bully video? The next Gun Bully video will probably be out this weekend. It's not really bullying yet. You know what I mean? You got to start somewhere. What I mean by that is we basically introduce the next two guns. We introduce them on the video. This is what they are. We'll talk about their features. Pretty much just say, hey guys, this is it. Kind of like whenever you bring a fighter into the ring. You talk about the fighter and that he's the champion and blah, 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 and then you beat the crap out of him. And that's what we're going to do. So the first video is already, I don't want to say it's in the can. It's already been filmed. But we'll put it out there probably this weekend. And then, yeah, this coming week, the real abuse starts. Now, say the real abuse, I was trying to start it out with real world abuse, like throwing it under my seat, accidentally dropping it, you know, leaving it outside for a couple of nights in the rain, which actually we got rain coming, so maybe starting that off a little bit sooner than normal. Again, real world stuff. We like to do the regular types of abuse and see what the gun can take that we probably can expect. Then we take it to the next level and go a little bit more extreme, like freeze it in ice and then bust it out. Maybe we drop it from higher up, you know, a little bit not normal abuse, and then we just take it to the next level. You know what I mean? Shoot it with buckshot, things that are not going to happen. you know, dropping it from a helicopter, 400 feet in the air, things like that. We will be doing that. We will be doing that. This is going to be the most fun gun bully segment that I've had yet. I'm so excited about it. Yeah, Ryan Westall says Drago bags are great. He uses his daily. They're great, man. Come on, Final Fate 62 says, man, that beer is making me jealous. Oh, you got mono, so you can't drink at all. Oh, that sucks, dude. Did your girlfriend get it too, or your boyfriend? I don't know if you're a girl or guy. Final Fate 62. Man, that sucks, dude. I had mono many years ago. Probably 20 years ago I had mono. It sucked. Yeah, I thought I was dying. I ran a fever for 3 weeks until I went to the doctor. Seriously, about 3 weeks till I went to the doctor. And he's like, you got mono. I was like, oh, great. I've been having that for 3 weeks. Let's see. Roland Garcia says, how about a free t-shirt to those who always show up to the party every Friday? Man, look, there's a lot of y'all that show up. Right now, there's 60-something of you guys on here. So I will say, I noticed the thing is, when you do that, for the guys that have been here 20 times, there's somebody that's been here twice, and they say, I was here too. So maybe we'll do something like that. Maybe we'll do like a, maybe we'll do this. Maybe we'll just do a ridiculous deal on the t-shirts, like half off, or you know, $10 for a t-shirt instead of 25 bucks. You know what I mean? Maybe we do something like that. We got some pretty cool t-shirts, so hopefully we can do something like that. Ryan asked if I hunt. If so, what do you use as far as rifles? I used to hunt. Now, I don't deer hunt because I'm not patient enough to deer hunt. I deer hunted one time when I was a kid, and I got so bored in that that blind that I probably scared the deer away because I moved around so much. I had too much nervous energy. I can't do that. That's not my thing. Now, I used to love to duck hunt, goose hunt, and squirrel hunt, rabbit hunt. I love fast shooting. I like tracking something and then shooting it. Now, I'm not saying I wouldn't like to deer hunt, but I want to be put on the deer and then shoot them from 300, 400 yards away. I don't want to have to wait 6 months and then finally shoot the deer I've been waiting to kill. I want to go hunting. I want to bag my limit. I want to leave. That's just how I like to hunt. I know that sounds very impatient, but I'm very impatient. Let's see. I'm just reading through your stuff. Willie says, make an attendance calendar. We'll call roll on Friday night. How about that? Boy, that would suck, huh? Preston asks, how did I get into firearms? I fell out of my mom's womb. That's pretty much how I did. I mean, we're growing up in South Louisiana. You grow up around firearms down here, you know. You grow up around them. Anytime we had pine trees in our yard, anytime we needed to prune the branches out of the pine tree, first time I ever shot a shotgun wasn't even at a bird. It was to shoot branches out of a tree that was overhanging our house. And we didn't want the pine trees to drop sap onto the cars in the house. So my dad had me and my brother go out there with a 12-gauge shotgun and blast the branches out of the tree. That was not a big deal to us. It was like, hey, whatever, you know. And we had neighbors. It wasn't like it was, oh, can you imagine how people would freak out now? Because the BBs are falling somewhere. I'm not saying that's the most responsible thing in the world, but it was just a shotgun. But yeah, I mean, that's just how we were. I've always been for as long as I can remember, I don't even remember being introduced to guns. You know what I mean? I don't even remember somebody saying, hey, here's the gun, check it out. Because they were a part of my life, my whole life. You know, pistols. I remember shooting a little Ruger 22 long rifle pistol forever. As a kid, I absolutely loved that thing. It got stolen out of my truck after my dad passed away. One of the things that pisses me off more than anything. But yeah, I've been involved with guns my whole life, man. I've just loved them. That passion has never left me. I've just always liked them. I like taking them apart. I like to understand how they work. I like cleaning my guns. I probably like cleaning my guns and servicing them more than I do actually shooting them. And I'm not being facetious. Some of you guys are probably the same way. I enjoy cleaning my guns. I'll go out and, you know, shoot the crap out of them and look how dirty they are going, yeah, take this thing home and clean it now. Let's see. What's the best concealed carry pistol? Jack DeWeese says that. Man, it's really, dude. I try to tell her, but there's not a one size fits all. You guys know this. I'm no pro at that. It's whatever you're comfortable with, whatever you train with, and whatever you can manage and control safely without hurting yourself or somebody else you love. Right now, I just happen to be carrying, and you guys probably know this, I've shown it before. This is my H&K VP9 SK in 9mm. That's what I carry right now. It's a subcompact model. I like it. I'm familiar with it. I shoot good with it. It's got pretty good sights on it. Now we'll show you this. This is kind of interesting. This is this little notch right here you see. That's where HK put that on there so that notch will grab on your belt. So you can cock it. Let's say if your support hand is hurt, you can use that cocking serration to push down while you have your hand on your strong hand on it. You can use that notch. You notice anything funny? The notch on this side is gone. See where that notch is right there? There's supposed to be one right there, and it's not. I don't know what happened. Clearly they can be slid out because it definitely went this way, up, but this one is still there. I'm right-handed, so this is really the only one that I would need, unless my right hand is damaged. But to finish answering your question, I hate gun snobs, okay? We talked about the Rock Island 1911s earlier. I have a $3,600 1911 over there, and I have some $500 1911s. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, oh, why do you have that piece of junk? Man, look, we buy what we can afford, right? I can remember buying I wanted to go duck hunting in my early 20s. I bought a used Mossberg pump shotgun. Used Mossberg pump shotgun. You want to know what I paid for it? $99. And I didn't give a crap what anybody said about it because I was killing ducks with it. Didn't matter that somebody might have been 2 blinds over shooting a $1,500 Benelli, because I was popping those birds out the sky just like they were with a $99 used Mossberg pump shotgun. So don't let the gun snobs get you down on what you carry. Look, if you've got a budget and you can only afford a certain gun, get that gun, get familiar with it, take care of it, clean it, lube it, shoot it, train with it, and that's going to be your best carry gun option. I hate the guys out there like, oh, if you don't carry a Glock 19, you're crazy. Man, look, not everybody can afford a $570 gun. So carry what you can afford. Now make sure it's reliable, because no gun that is 50-50 on when it's going to fire is worth having. You're better off saving up your money than threatening your own life and carrying something that's not going to work. There's plenty of guns out there, though, that are low budget guns that are just fine. Let's see. Oh yeah, Zach Briggs, I want to point this out. Zach's mentioned, I love your channel and I'm on with you, or I'm with you, excuse me, on the Levi's thing. Guys, remember the Levi's thing that I talked about? Levi's went all in being anti-gun. I'm wearing my Lucky jeans now. I have bought, so I think we talked about it, they're kind of expensive. There's anywhere from 50 to 70 bucks for a pair of jeans. I've only bought 4 pairs. I'm not going to replace 12 pairs of Levi's with 12 pairs of Lucky Brand jeans. I can't afford that. I'd rather buy guns with my money, to be quite honest with you. But I'm debranding all my Levi's, and I'll never, ever wear another pair of Levi's for as long as I live. If they bury me in a pair of Levi's, I will come back and haunt every son of a bitch that put me in that casket, because I'm not wearing Levi's ever again as long as I live. God, I hope I don't drop dead tonight. That would suck. Talking about that. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of you guys on here that I'm gonna give some shout outs to the guys that either aren't on here normally or that I don't recognize. Shark Trucker, I saw you on here again. Glad you could make it. Let's see. Ravi S. Chadha, I don't recognize that name. I'm assuming you're foreign, and I don't mean that by the name. You made the comment, who is a redneck, and who is a redneck? Is it geographical or cultural? Redneck is actually a term of endearment, to be honest with you, and I'm not joking when I say that. Redneck in the olden days, people were called rednecks because it was a compliment for people who worked really, really hard. The reason why is because they were out in the sun all day long. They were laborers and they were hustlers, and they worked. They worked, they worked, they worked. And what happened is their necks got sunburned. Necks got sunburned. The back of their neck got sunburned. So they were called rednecks. Again, that wasn't a degrading term. That was a compliment, because if you were a redneck, you were somebody that went out there and hustled. Nowadays, people actually frown on people who work for a living. So a redneck has become a derogatory term. Now people think it's like, it's people who talk like me from South Louisiana who don't talk perfect like the big city folk up in New York City. So now I'm called a redneck. I still consider it a compliment. You can think it's a demeaning term. I still take it as a compliment because I relate to that. I work for a living. I don't mind hustling. And if you think that's a bad thing, I'm sorry for you, because I'm the guy that's going to be out there building America and making it better when you guys are bringing it down. So yeah, I don't mind being called a redneck. But yes, it's not really a cultural term, although you have some liberals out there that will use redneck as a term to describe a poor, I think a poor Republican. You know, the left will call a poor Democrat or a poor liberal, they will call them my friend that I need to help. But the left will call a poor conservative a redneck or a hillbilly. Prove me wrong. You know I'm right. The left will tolerate a poor white person if they vote Democrat. The left will not tolerate a poor white person if they vote for a Republican, because now they're a hillbilly or a redneck. Again, prove me wrong. You know I'm right. Let's see, guys. Yeah, Citizen Shoulder says rednecks will be the last survivors if shit hits the fan. You're exactly right. Let's see. Z50's on here. Sigman. These are some names that I don't see a lot. Tony Morano. Tony Morano says, howdy, beer is proof that God loves us and wants us to be happy. I'm glad you acknowledge that. Exactly the way I feel. Welcome to our show too, by the way. Matthew Turner, welcome. Matthew says, my neck has been red since I was 12. Exactly. I was cutting grass at 14. Noah Adams, welcome to the show. LWRC BCM, like that. New subscriber, nice to be here. Appreciate you showing up, buddy. And thank you for subscribing. I appreciate you guys that subscribe. I mean, that means a lot that you guys do that, and I really appreciate that. Let's see. I'm trying to give a shout out to you guys that I don't see on here very often. So forgive my pause here for a second. Is that Sid Landry, it looks like? And again, I think earlier I made reference to Ashley Lecomte. Ashley asked, what's my email? My email is, I guess you're asking me. My email is paul@legallyarmedamerica.com. paul@legallyarmedamerica.com. You guys can email me anytime, any questions. I'm pretty responsive to that. And our website is legallyarmedamerica.com. Thomas is here. Good to see you, Thomas. Welcome. Preston M. Travis H. Hey, Zach Briggs. Zach Briggs is back. That's a name I recognize. Jack DeWeese is in here. I think we talked about that or mentioned your name earlier. All right. Guys, I'm pretty much at the end of the night. I got to go babysit. My wife is going to a concert with a friend. So I'm going to go downstairs, eat some pizza, chill out, maybe watch some TV, probably clean a gun or two. Wish you guys the best. If you haven't done it already, like we talk about most weeks, please go open you an account at ProveIt.video. ProveIt.video is going to be the next thing that replaces Instagram and YouTube. Instagram because you can upload pictures to it, but it's also like YouTube because you can upload your videos to it as well. It's been getting worked on for several weeks now. We got a bunch of our videos out there. They do not discriminate against gun owners. In fact, they welcome gun owners. So if you haven't had a chance, go out there, start you a page on there, a profile on there. I know it makes a difference that I talk about it on here because every week, every Friday night, that I tell you guys to go out there and start you a page or a profile. Excuse me, I keep kicking that. I'll go on probably an hour or so after I finish here, and you guys, I can see. All of a sudden, there's a bunch of new accounts out there. So keep doing that, you know, get your friends to go out there, create some accounts. We're trying to use kind of a beta testing thing to where you guys go out there and help us test all the features of ProveIt.video so that we can make sure what works and tweak it and fix it. We've been working behind the scenes to have this thing, you know, functioning a whole lot better than what it is now. So by you guys using it and saying if something does or does not work, it allows us to make those changes before we put it out there to the whole general public. You guys are kind of like our beta testers right now. We've only told a select group of people like you all and friends of ours who are out there using it. So probably within a couple of weeks, we feel like we've got all the bugs ironed out of it, and it's going to be out there full force to where everybody else will be on it. So I encourage you guys to go out there. It may seem slow right now, like not a lot of people are on it. We don't want 50,000 people on there right now because we are still testing it. We can handle the workload that you guys are going to put out there. So that's why we welcome you all to go out there and do it. So I appreciate those of you who have done it. It means a lot to me that y'all have done it because I do think that's the way to go. We will eventually be doing our live streams on ProveIt.video. We won't do them on YouTube anymore. YouTube is too anti-gun. I'm not going to support them forever. We'll get to a point where we'll start doing our Friday night live streams on ProveIt.video. We do have those capabilities already. It's just a matter of time before we make that shift and do it over there. I want to make sure everything works right and everything's good to go before we make that change. Guys, again, appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday night. I hope you guys go out and have a good time tonight. If you're drinking, please let somebody else drive or hang around the house tonight. If you go out, have a good time, be aware of your surroundings, head on a swivel. That's not paranoid, that's ready. So please be safe out there, guys. If you go to the range this weekend, be safe. You know, please be aware of all your gun safety rules. And we will see you next Friday. Thanks again, guys. We'll see you then.